If at any point you can't hear me, okay. If at any point you can't hear me, please raise up your hand or react or type it in the in call messages. Also, at any point in time, please do not interrupt any speaker, either today or other days. If you have anything to say, you either raise up your hand, you react, or you put it in the in call messages. If you have questions that come up during the, those type of questions that you might forget or it can't be answered at the end, just like to maybe to clarify something, you put it in the income messages. If the speaker sees it, she might clarify whatever she has, but please do not turn on your microphones, don't turn on your video, your camera for any reason. Okay, if you can't hear me at any point, don't forget to also react, don't say anything. Okay, or the speaker. So yes, thank you very much. So um we're going to have our first speaker who doubles as the pioneer the Hilton Top female for the Hilton Top what is this? Okay. Yes, who doubles as the pioneer for Hilton Top female mentorship in blockchain. Her name is Madam Deborah Enyoe Oni. Madam Deborah is a legal practitioner with over a decade post-call experience. She is the founding and managing partner of Hilton Top Solicitors, a tech-savvy law firm committed to delivering legal services through innovation and technology. She is the convener of the Hilton Top Solicitors Female Virtual Mentorship Internship Program for law undergraduates and graduates. She is the founder of the Hilton Top Emerging Tech Academy. Madam Deborah is an emerging tech lawyer, a certified blockchain expert, researcher, educator, and consultant, a smart contract research fellow, a mother of three girls, a tech and woman empowerment advocate. She has a thirst for innovation, and at the core of her strength is her ability to adopt a new type of thinking and use cutting edge legal technologies to help clients solve complex issues in a technologically emerged world. Please, as I'm saying this profile, please give us an online round of applause because this woman is a very innovative, a very amazing woman. Please, an online round of applause. She is the head of the blockchain and other emerging technology units out of the firm. Her interest in the emerging technology space has led her to acquiring various reputable certifications in the same. She's highly focused, resolute, confident, dedicated, and a committed personality. She holds a Bachelor of Laws (LLB) from the University of Jos, Plateau State, had a BL from the Nigerian Law School, Abuja, and was subsequently called to the Nigerian Bar in 2010. She has a master's degree in law from the University of Lagos, Akoka, Lagos. She regularly advises a broad range of clients, including startups, local and international companies, on various sectors, specific legal issues such as joint ventures, legal and regulatory compliance, general corporate advisory on the legal and on the Nigerian law and policy affecting the incorporation and corporation of business to help clients maximize opportunities and profits in their businesses and minimize risks. She sits on the board of reputable companies as the legal secretary and advisor. She is the program coordinator and administrator of Cryptography Development Initiative of Nigeria, CDIN. She's an ambassador for the Global Policy House. She is a public speaker and she is often called upon to speak at local and international seminars, webinars, and conferences. Yes. She is a digital content writer and has authored several articles, majorly covering blockchain and law and artificial intelligence. She is a digital content writer and has authored several articles. Can you even hear me? I'm seeing a lot of hands raising.
Yes,
Please,
we
if you can't
can.
hear me, you can
Yes.
hear me. Okay. And she's a digital content writer and has authored several articles, majorly covering blockchain and law and artificial intelligence. She's passionate about sustainable legal practice through innovation and technology, women and girls, and their inclusion and participation in the Web3 space. She partners with organizations that foster the development and growth of women and girls in digital economy to achieve greater results. She's a mentor to young women. She's my mentor and female law students across various universities in Nigeria, law graduates and lawyers. And her passion for women and girls had led her to pioneering women focus to has led her to pioneering women focused programs such as the HILTON Top Solicitors Female Virtual Mentorship Show internship program, which has educated about 5,000 women, including me, since its inception in 2020 on blockchain and cryptocurrency, law and tech, and women empowerment, inclusion, and participation. She seeks to build women and girls with tech skills so as to be digitally aware and thus empowered to participate in the digital economy and other aspects as well. She uses her legal expertise to support the development of women. Ladies, this is our pioneer and our host for today. Please give her a round of applause as she comes to give us her opening speech and her talk with what she has to offer. Please get your notebooks and pen ready. This is going to be a very educative and impactful session. I am excited, and I hope you are excited too. Madam Oni, please, over to you, ma. You are very welcome, ma.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for that warm welcome. Thank you, everyone. Amazing ladies of the ninth cohort. You're all welcome today to this amazing session. Yeah, thank you so much for the emojis. Thank you, the great and kind moderator. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. And if you're here in Nigeria with us, it's good afternoon to you. So I am especially excited to have you all on board today for the 9th edition of the HILTON Top Solicitors Female Virtual Internship and Mentorship Program. You are greatly opportune to be a part of this 9th edition, which is the rounding up for this year's last quarter. And over the course of the next 2 weeks, we'll be having various industry experts, including myself, who will take a session today on blockchain with you. I really want to appreciate you for your commitment to your personal development and allowing me and every other member of the team, the volunteer team, and every other person to be part of your professional journey. We do not take this for granted, and we say very big thank you to you and congratulations to you in making it to this particular cohort. And so the purpose of this platform is we like to set the record straight from the onset. While some persons already have an idea from the write-up and then from maybe the information on the web prior to your application, you already have an idea what the platform of the HILTON Top Solicitors Female Virtual Internship and Mentorship Program is all about. I know that some also are not so clear about it, and so it is very, very right that we set it straight from the very first day. Now, I do understand that some persons come to this platform with the notion that they are coming to just learn and hear things that you are used to in class or in school or any other place when you mention law. But this platform is a platform with special focus on the emerging technology, helping you as legal professionals, as legal minds, as budding lawyers to understand the intersection of law and emerging technology with special focus on the blockchain. Now, all the things that we do on the platform here are borrowed from the lessons that I went through from my own personal stories. And I've been able to channel all that, put them together to see that there's a need to harness the benefits and the lessons learned to be able to help those who are in the undergraduate level, those who are graduates, and those who are whether young professionals or established professionals who have no idea or no knowledge about the emerging technology, its importance, section of it with law, and how they can actually themselves to be able to harness the potentials that lies in that space. And so, having been in the space for quite some years, I realized that there is a need to help us understand and help you by doing this myself. And like I said, the other industry experts take some sessions around this space for you to see that there's a great opportunity and great potential within this space that is not yet cracked. And because as the name it implies, it's an emerging technology, it is evolving, it's nascent, right? And so it is important that you get to understand it and evolve with it, because in the long run, what we have is the evolution of there are emerging rules, emerging responsibilities and duties for you as a legal professional. So you cannot afford to just stick to your space as in learning law as it used to be, because by the time you will be done, for those that are still undergraduate, by the time you will be done studying law as it used to be, and you come out, the person will probably be outdated at the point if you don't align yourself with where the world and even your country is moving in terms of digitization. We know that we are in a digital economy, right? We are in an by digitization, and for we as legal professionals, leveling up and coming to align ourselves with where the world is going. It's no more news, and it's no professional already established or young start young week or a graduate or an undergraduate. A young married life, and hoping that I have actually acquired the sections I have actually learned into my brain and translate value, economic value, any connection with the realities that are going on in life, right? And so I have realized that if that we hear
Hello, everyone. Okay.
Yes,
It's back.
the network. I believe you can hear me now. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. It got intercepted. Yes, thank you. All right. So where did I stop? Thank you for trying to stand in, Sarah. All right. So there is a need. There's a very, very strong need for us to. Okay, you can hear me now. All right. Thank you. So there's a very strong need for you to understand the emerging technology, how it relates to law, and how you can start planning your way and learning and aligning yourselves with those that are in the space to be able to understand. Sometimes there are a lot of misconceptions about the platform. Some persons here and then they feel that are they telling us that we shouldn't study law again? What is this emerging technology, or what's this blockchain that they're talking about? No, we're not saying leave law, but we're making you to see that there is a place for you in this emerging tech space, a very great one that is yet to be fully unfolded, and that you need to understand. It doesn't matter what you have in your mind that you want to be in the space of law. It doesn't matter the area that you have planned to want to focus on. The thing is that it is very, very important that you get to understand the emerging technology, especially with blockchain being predicted to be a major driver in the digital economy. And so we are trying to make you understand that there is an intersection between this technology and law, and that there is a great role and a great duty for you to play in the space. And you can only come to that realization of maximizing that potential only when you get to understand the technology, and not just hearing about the fact that, oh, I know blockchain, I have heard about blockchain, and I think I know the definition that is going on about it, but you really understand and how it relates to you, and how you can actually translate this to a form of value for yourself, because that's what we're saying. Don't forget, I said back then when I was called as a lawyer coming out, one of the issues I had, apart from the fact that there was no confidence to even put myself out there to be able to leverage any opportunity, the fact still remains that I was confused about how to translate the knowledge that I had garnered before then into economic value for myself. So on this platform, you're going to be interfacing with industry experts from various aspects. I like to bring people from the tech space immediately, especially the emerging tech space, because you get to hear from these people directly, and then you are able to understand what your own role is and how you can actually put yourself out to be able to perform that role, right? And so in the course of this particular cohort, we'll be having various industry experts from the blockchain space, from artificial intelligence space, of course, because don't forget that artificial intelligence is also an emerging technology, right? And then, of course, from the space of law, and one very prominent legal professional that we have as a great supporter for this platform is Mr. Atoyebi Muyiwa, the Learned Seal, the senior advocate. From the very onset of this platform, from the inception of this platform in 2020, when I reached out to him, he believes so much in this vision, and he has always availed himself, whether in person, and when he's unavoidably absent, will send a representative from his law firm, Omaplex Law Firm, to represent him. And that's how dear he holds the women on this platform. Why? Because, like I said, the focus here is on women, right? And then, of course, we know that if we are to make it a general, I'm sure there are most of you that will not attend this program, right? So we have decided to meet us as women in our own space and to make you to be able to understand this technology, and as a result, be able to connect the dots. And at the end of the day, you'll be able to create economic value for yourself. So the thing is that you don't have to wait to finish from school before you start thinking, what do I do now? It is my earnest intention and passion for you to get that direction, to be able to connect the dots, to be able to chart these uncharted routes in light of the digital economy, while you are even still in the four walls of the university. And so topics we'll be dealing with, like I said, don't forget it's the intersection with law. So as you're getting the topic, you're going to be looking at, okay, what is my role in it? For some of them, of course, the topics I've given them I've asked also for them to address the role that from the perspective of those that are developers or those that are pioneers in the space of the blockchain, what they feel that they need as a solution from lawyers, right? So now, because you cannot understand the technology as much as those that are developers, those that have the technical knowledge. So if that person who has the technical knowledge has a problem or a challenge in their solution, and they can now, I think they will be the best person to tell you, oh, I would have wanted that a lawyer could make me understand how I can go about this, right? Of course, you can get this knowledge by yourself from research and reading, which the rest of us did over the years. And hence, that's how I'm able to get some of the knowledge that I have within that space. So it is very, very good that we relate with those that are really having hands-on training with it, and then hear from them, and those that have the knowledge within the space also as legal professionals. So here we do not just bring legal professionals just for the sake of the fact that we want you to come and hear about cases. So if you are waiting to probably get to cram about 100 cases, 50 cases, and your normal traditional legal cases, no, that's not what we do here. I mean, you've heard a lot of that. If you're already an established lawyer, you've heard a lot of that, and you can always get that many law report. If you are an undergraduate, in fact, you are getting the most recent one, right? You can always get it from your library, and in fact, you don't even need to go to the library again with AI tools that are available, ChatGPT and other ones, right? And so the thing is that we are here to help you understand real life. The need for you to have technological knowledge cannot be overemphasized. And so topics around the blockchain in various aspects, in terms of tokenization, in terms of, because will help you, you know, break down the blockchain, right? You from the tokenization aspect of the aspect. Can you kindly mute if you're not speaking? Thank you. So yes, so from various aspects that will help you to be able to understand this technology. And then, of course, like I said, artificial intelligence is there. And then, of course, issues around smart contract, your role as a legal personnel within the space. And then, of course, issues around the legal implications within this space, all in the name of helping you to understand better. In other cohorts, of course, we do have the syllabus are not always the same, but like I said, the major focus are on topics within this blockchain to help you understand better, and topics around the artificial intelligence and skills that you need to be able to perform in this role. So skills around product management, you'll be having a session on product management. On other cohorts we've had on data analytics, but unavoidably, facilitator for that is not available this time, so we won't be having on the data analytics. And so this is just like an highlight what you'll be getting. So today is majorly to welcome you on board and to let you know that this platform is a platform like no other. It's not a platform for hype. It's a platform that I usually refer to as my last born. I have 3 girls, and so I see this as my 4th born. And because I am passionate about actually helping you and I to be able to gain the knowledge that we need to be able to participate, one, as women within the legal space and within the intersection of law and technology space. In other words, by doing that, we will be able to break down the gender and the digital divide, right? And in that way also, by the time you have the required knowledge and your mind is opened up to what matters, and you are able to, you know, have a direction, that way you'll be able to create value for yourself, and that way you become financially you know, independent, right? And that way you are empowered, because it's, and then of course over the course of the 2 weeks you will get the knowledge, and then relating with all these industry experts, you will get to build more of your confidence. You get to see in life that yes, there are issues, there are stories behind every success that you see, and that you are good from where you are, and whatever it is you're doing now, and whatever it is that you have now, you are good with it, and that you can always start where you are with what you have, and that in this digital economy, what you need is your passion. First, bring your passion to bear, right? And then if you have that passion to be able to learn, and then of course bring flexibility, adaptability, and then commitment to continuous learning to bear. If you bring that to bear, there's just the sky is the beginning to what you can learn. And like I always tell every of the what we can't give you everything. God forbid we can't give you everything. We're not God, right? But what we intend to do is to open you up to the right direction, to let you know this is it. This is why these things and this is why you need to look at it. And of course, if it resonates with you, fine. If it doesn't, fine. But I would plead with you, let it resonate with you. Because like I said, whether you want to go strictly into litigation, any aspect of the traditional legal practice that you have an idea about prior to this time, in the future, and as we are moving forward, by this disruption of digitization, you cannot afford not to understand technology, especially the emerging technology, and especially things around blockchain, around artificial intelligence. It is very, very pertinent that you are interested in understanding the emerging technology and how it intersects with law, and how you can leverage it, and how you can also position yourself well to be able to, be an ecosystem participant, right? Because in the words of the DG of NIDA, you would say that the illiterate of the digital economy is not he who did not go to school, or it is he who refuses to understand technology or leverage technology. So, borrowing from the words of Kashif the DG of NIDA, I would tell you that the illiterate of this present time, or the person who would say, if you want to say that you are a lawyer, it is very, very important in this digital economy that you get to understand technology, and especially emerging technology. So it's not an optional thing for you to say, oh, I'm just a lawyer, I don't have anything to do with technology. And there is another misconception I hear from people. They tell themselves that, oh, the tech space is already saturated, so I don't need it, let me just go away from this internship. No, my dear, you're wrong about that. There is no oversaturation about the technology space. As a matter of fact, we've not even started scratching the paint there. So if we're talking about the general technology, not to even talk about the emerging technology, there is nothing to think, and don't be under that misconception that it is oversaturated, that it is already saturated or oversaturated. Could you mute if you're not speaking, or to speak? All right, please, I would appreciate that you do not unmute yourself if you're not speaking. All right, thank you, ladies. So it is not an optional thing any longer. It is not an optional thing. So it is very, very important that you get to learn it. And like I always say, everything that is going to be said on this platform might not be all for you, but just make sure you are open-minded, because if you are open-minded, you will be able to pick at least one thing that will make sense to you, that will help propel you towards your journey in life, whether as a legal professional or whatever it is that you decide to delve into later on in life. Just remember that technology is here to stay. It is disrupting every industry, and your industry and my industry, the legal space, is not an exception. And so it is very important that we align ourselves properly. While leveraging the existing improved technology, it is important that we position ourselves to commit to learn, relearn, or upskill, and unlearn what we need to unlearn concerning the emerging technologies, so that we can actually be part of those that will harness the opportunities that lies within the space. And so this platform came as a result of the fact that years back called as a lawyer in 2010, and not being able to connect the dots, and having to move down to Lagos after newly married, and then of course having had to face the challenges of life, because you board disposes, and most times you have your plan all well written out. But at the end of the day, life happens. And so when life happens to you as a woman and your plans that you have had, that, oh, when you finish, you will work in one of the tier 1 law firm, you will do this and you will do that. If it doesn't happen, what do you do? You just forget about your dream that you want to make impact, or do you just keep pushing, or do you just jump around everywhere, or you just resolve to what life gives to you? But the thing is, in most of those cases, which usually happens, most times we have a different plan from what happens, right? But you keep pushing, you don't give up. And so fast forward, so that not giving up spirit led me to the space of the blockchain, whereby already my husband was in the space, and God directed us to a mentor who directed me, oh, since your husband is in this space, why not look into the space? And he was a well-respected, he is still a well-respected mentor. And I looked, I said, something about blockchain for me as a lawyer. I didn't doubt him because he was, he's way Lord, my senior, and I knew that he knew better what he was saying. So I did not question him. And all I took, and I jotted down that day, why not look into the blockchain space where your husband is at the time. And so the following day in that particular year, I followed my husband for a seminar. At that point, there was no webinar. It was a seminar in 2018. And then we went for this physical seminar. So I would implore you on what I did that you do. When I got there, because I was hungry for knowledge. At the time, I have had my last born, so I was ready to build my firm. I was hungry to move myself forward and to make impact and to know that I'm now focusing. And so the issue of the challenges or the particular hurdles of a woman, you give birth and then you have to, get to work for your clients, you are building, it's coming down and the rest of it. I knew that since I was done with childbirth, I could focus now. And so at the point I listened without any form of bias, any form of judgment. What I didn't understand, I asked questions from the facilitator. And the thing is that the person was not even a lawyer. But from the teaching, because of the rate at which I listened, I was able to pick out the roles and the implication. I started seeing the legal implication in this space, and I was like, wow, and there's something really great around this space for lawyers, and how come we never understood? So from that very class, and from that one encounter with a mentor, I'm trying to draw out something. Why not look into the blockchain space where your husband is first? Like I said, my husband was the one in it, and I felt it was because of his financial background. But now I had someone direct me. And since then, I said, this is my mentor, because that one word was able to help me chart the route, the uncharted route for myself. That one word was able to set me right. And so that's why I said, it's not everything we say every of the day that will make sense to you, but just be open-minded, because your own word could come from whether during my own session, during any other industry expert session, I will just come and give you that direction on how you can go, even as a student, even as a graduate, and even as a lawyer in like this digital economy. Because like I said, this platform, I'm so much more interested in the impact, in the action that you take from the knowledge you have gained. And if you're not open-minded, even if anybody should open your brain and put in anything, it won't work, right? You have to decide that it will, and be open to, right, before it will work. And that was how it happened for me. I was ready to look for that knowledge. And then I knew that for that one word that has set me right, in most cases, you don't need 10 years to get mentorship that will set you right, that will get you well directed. While you can have some persons be under an internship, a mentorship for years, and yet they are still confused. You can be under a place for minutes and you get your life all set out, well directed, to be able to help you to make impact. That's what this life is about. So I do pray that you don't miss your moments, and that everything that comes on the board, the one that doesn't make sense to you, that you feel it's not right, you can just expunge it. And the ones that does make sense, please work on it. But I'm sure that at the end of the day, you will be glad that you were on this platform. And then you should know that the opportunities that are in the space is available to whether a man or a woman. But it is very important that you get to understand that you as a woman will have a different challenge from a man, especially if you are not yet married and all that. And so leveraging technology will do you a lot of great good, right? And will help you to be able to, build a life of empowerment for yourself. And so in the long run, the core course is on the emerging technology, on women empowerment, and on the intersection of law and the emerging technology, especially of course on blockchain. So in the course of it, also rounding up within this particular edition, we'll have like an elderly woman have a fireside chat with us on life experience, also to just boost us up a bit and to help help us direct some of the questions you might have as a woman also, right? So thank you very much for being here. You are welcome on board. So I think with this, we can see you have successfully been onboarded to the 9th cohort of the HILTON Top Solicitors Female Virtual Internship. So I think the next one or so, we will be dealing with my session, I believe, Sarah, right, on the fundamentals of blockchain for lawyers, the legal implication and regulatory framework. So thank you, ladies. I'll be here for any questions, or probably we might take questions after the session. But over to you, Sarah. Thank you and welcome on board, everyone.
Thank you so much, Ma. That was amazing. That was fantastic. Everyone, can we keep that clap and appreciation coming? Fantastic. So far, do we have any question? Do we have any question? Some of us have learned some very interesting and compelling story, you know, because you may say, oh, being a lady, being a woman, why should I be in tech? Or what does tech have to do with me? What does blockchain have to do with me? So now we can see that it's a new revolution and a new season for female in the tech and technology space. So do we have any question before we move to our next session? You can put our question, you can, or if you have a question, please show your hands. Okay, fantastic. I'm seeing about 2 hands. Or you can also just raise your hands. Okay, so we have Covenant, Amina, and Lisa. Okay, so Covenant, please go on unmute and ask your question. Thank you very much. Covenant, are you still here? Please unmute and ask your question. Okay, it seems she may be having a network issue. Let's move on to Amina Bello.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon. Yes, we can. Amina, go ahead, please.
Alright. This was really impactful session, and my question goes like this: how can lawyers effectively integrate technology into their practices without compromising traditional values?
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much. Madam Deborah.
Yes, sorry, thank you. So I didn't fully hear the question, but I heard to the part she said, how can lawyers fully integrate technology? I think, well, I will answer this, but if we're to take these questions before the session, I'm sure we'll take longer time here today. So I would have preferred we take the session and questions around technology will come after my blockchain session, right? So I was thinking maybe it was going to be questions around the onboarding session, or you probably want to know more about the program or something around that. But yeah, the thing is, what I tell people, don't get yourself overwhelmed about anything that you're new to. just feel free, just onboarding yourself. Don't feel overwhelmed with the questions of, oh, how do I go about it? And I'm sure by the time we have started, and by the time we'll be ending, you will know how to, integrate, even if it's not fully integrate technology into your legal practice. You will be able to have an idea about it. And of course, the thing is, it starts from, I mentioned something earlier. I said it is very important that as legal professionals, we get to understand how we can leverage the existing improved technology while you're learning, unlearning, reskilling about the emerging technology. We want to know how to position yourself to be an ecosystem player in terms of your role as whether as a user or as a developer. Of course, we've seen some lawyers transition into even codes, right? While it is not a must, it's also good if it resonates with you later that yes, you want to go into the coding aspect, right? And so but this comes with the fact that you already know how to leverage the existing technology, because for you to get to understand the emerging technology, you need to be on technology, even using and leveraging the existing one, right? And so as you learn about the emerging technology, you will find yourself also joining communities that you get to know more about how you can actually integrate it. Now, if you don't fully integrate, of course, for something like the blockchain, of course, it could be capital intensive. So it's not something that one person can actually fully integrate, right? But at the end of the day, you are able to be an ecosystem player in terms of how to be able to position yourself in that space, to even be a digital innovator, or to be able to use it. How to use it will come by virtue of you learning, putting yourself out there in the space. And like I tell legal professionals mostly, you cannot say you're learning about technology and you distance yourself from tech communities. I'm in various tech communities, even from the cryptocurrency communities to other aspects of the use cases of blockchain communities, right? Because that way you are able to get the understanding about how this technology works. And I'm using this as an example, like I said, because this is a focus, and then of course blockchain is predicted to be the forerunner of the emerging technology, right? So we have the artificial intelligence. So for artificial intelligence also, for you to be able to integrate, you need to understand and know the use, the purpose, just like ChatGPT that you use, right? So as you use it, you get to understand how it will really help you in your practice and the kind of tasks or the kind of responsibilities or roles that you can actually automate, right? And that way you are able to see that, oh, this simple task that we usually do and waste this kind of time, we can actually automate it with this kind of AI tool, right? So the fact that you are learning about it, you even get to understand other simpler ones or cheaper ones that you can use that are even different from the ChatGPT that can actually give you the tailored result that you need. But of course, it's not something that will just come by, of course, if you research or if you request ChatGPT now to just tell you the strategies you need to put in place. But these are some of the simple things. I want you to really understand the basic things. As much as you being here to learn about it, this is like a great step towards the right direction. As much as you being on a virtual platform to learn and commit to learning for the next 2 weeks, it will help you also to get that knowledge, right? And so part of the ways we can actually integrate technology into our practice is like what we are doing. For me over the years, as opposed to when I was just into the traditional system of practice where meetings and every other thing were done traditionally. Now we do most of our meetings virtually. So that's part of integrating technology into our practice. So we use Zoom. On this platform that you are now, we're doing it virtually, right? Prior to this time, internships and any form of mentorship you do, you have to go physically. And so if you are not within the jurisdiction of where that opportunity is, you will be precluded. And if you are within that jurisdiction, you don't have the money to run for transport, like we are in an unprecedented time now that we have issues with fuel and the rest of it. So those who cannot afford will be precluded. And then, of course, there is a lot of risk to life. And then, of course, there's a lot of wastage, there's a lot of delay. But by virtue of integrating technology, from my own practical experience, I have been able to see that I've been able to save some cost in terms of the time that I have to waste before to work on some documents, drive down to some elderly, to meet with some elderly clients, to be able to explain over and over, and then for them to review documents that we have to, that they have to review. But now I have even taken the pain of, as much as part of the steps in integrating technology into the practice, I took the step to even teach some of my clients who are elderly on how to use simple things as Google Doc, right? That's technology, right? So they are able to now understand that I draft an agreement and I don't have to travel a long distance and say I'm moving from the island to the mainland to go and meet the elderly person to review the document. It took some time for some of them to understand, but of course, in the long run, they're able to come around, right? So it gets, these are some of the simple tools. That's why I said you open your mind up to leveraging the existing improved technology while you're learning and positioning yourself as an ecosystem player in the emerging tech space. So there are so many ways you can do. So as much as leveraging the virtual conferencing tools, or as much as making use of the various productivity tools running from Google productivity tools, Microsoft productivity tools, and every other productivity tools that will help you to be productive in your work, right? And so on this platform, for the articles you'll be writing, you'll be making use of Google Doc or Microsoft Office. And then, of course, for some of the sessions that we're having here, some will be on social media platform like X Space, like LinkedIn. I mean, these are some of the things. And so the ways that you are able to integrate technology, leveraging technology to be able to deliver your service as a legal professional, should be one of your goals, because that way you will have a client base that is across board, and then that, of course, that is across borders. That way you are not restricted to clients within your jurisdiction. Because why? Your clients want to be sure that you are able to give them service within the fastest time that they can that they really require you. And so with technology, you are not restricted. So one of the ways you can integrate technology is the fact that you are available and you have virtual platforms, like maybe personal websites. And if you are not able to have your law firm website yet, you are able to leverage social media platforms, professional ones like LinkedIn, and if you're more on the X space, you are able to maintain that presence that your client can reach out to you, and you are able to deliver that service at a fast pace. You are available to be able to hold meetings, and you are not saying, oh no, oh, you are in Lagos, I'm in Akwa Ibom, I don't know when we can hold meetings and the rest of it. And some persons, I've had a client from South Africa at a point, and was referred to me, and she said, okay, I'll send you a mail. And then we got talking. I told her, okay, I'll schedule a meeting for us to see. Let's speak. Let me even know that I'm speaking to a real person, right? And she said she had never used Zoom. So the thing is, you're integrating technology into your service, leveraging these technologies that are existing to be able to serve your clients better at a faster rate, at a cheaper rate, make of course, your service efficient, faster, and more affordable, right? So, and then these are some of the simple ways. And so then coming to emerging technology, there are so many ways, because you will be performing roles around advisory. When we get to the topic of the blockchain, which of course, that's where you will know what your role will be and how you can actually, so how you can integrate it, of course, for the blockchain is not required that you just do it alone, across multiple networks. So one of the first role you will perform in terms of while you have integrated the existing one, you are performing a role of a lawyer who understands the emerging technology and giving legal advisory, and also helping to be able to review and draft things like smart contracts and all that. So I'm sure for that aspect you will get from the session of the blockchain, but I'm sure for the other simple aspect of the general technology, you have understood that. Then over the course of the coming days in other sessions, you'll be able to, pick all these points together. And if you're still not clear, you can reach out to me. But they are simple as what we are doing already, right? And so looking for the tools that will help you to automate those repetitive tasks, those simple things that you need to do. You are no more restricted to the fact that, oh, until I get to the office before I can hold meetings. And in most cases, you wouldn't be able to hold a lot of meetings if you're just going to base on the physical practice or the traditional practice. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, so Sarah, can we go into the session? I'm sure she got the response right.
Yes,
Thank you, ma.
We still have one more hand.
Okay.
We need the question after the next session.
Go ahead.
Please.
Hello. Sarah, do we have any question coming in while I'm trying to share my screen?
Okay, no, not anymore. Not anymore. We can move on. All right.
So if anyone can hear me, because I can't hear anyone.
I can hear you, ma.
All right, so is there any question going on?
Yes, I do have a question, ma.
Okay, go on with your question.
Okay, I want to confirm if you can hear me, ma.
Very well, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the wonderful onboarding session. It was really insightful. So, my question goes towards. So, I believe, as you already discussed, trying to integrate or how technology got integrated into the law system we have in Nigeria. It's not something that just came by ease. So, definitely there would have been some issues. So, I'd like you to please enlighten us on certain issues that they were faced when technology was initially integrated into the law system, like certain issues that were faced and how it were combated. I think it's essential to understand this for any kind of uprise of such difficulties as technology law continue to develop in Nigeria. So that's my question, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Like I said earlier, can we address all this from maybe the presentation? Because in the long run, we're already delving into aspects of the presentation, right? Because when we deal with this blockchain now, we're going to, of course, I will address some of the challenges, the loopholes. You said you want to know some of the challenges that came as a result of the introduction of technology into the legal system, right? And so, yes, the challenges, which of course could be capped as the legal implication of the intersection of law and technology. And with this particular one, we're dealing with the emerging technology. We will address that, and probably by then you can insert some of these questions into it. How about that? So that we can see.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so please confirm if you can see the slide.
Not yet. So yes, we can see the slide.
Yes, we
And
can see the
before
slide
you
now.
progress, man, let me quickly introduce the topic for us. So right now, the session we just had was like she said, the onboarding session, and now we're moving into the meat of today's session, which is on blockchain fundamentals for lawyers, legal implications, and compliance in decentralized systems. So over to you, and thank you so much, ma'am. Let's see our virtual class as we move into the meat of today's session.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Just a minute for me to get the sharing of the slide well. Okay, can you see my slides on the screen now?
Yes, ma'am, we can see your slides, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's clear, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, is it clear for you to see? Kindly let me know, what page are you seeing now?
It's clear, ma'am. We are seeing the overview.
Yes,
Right
it's
now.
clear.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Okay, so you are seeing the blockchain fundamentals, the first page, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you. A bit of some technical issues led to the delay. Thank you for holding on. And yes, over the past 4 years, we've been using Zoom. So we're more used to I'm more used to using Zoom with presentations like this. And I know that a lot of people have been clamoring that we try Google Meet. And this is our first time trying with premium with all this. But I'm sure over the time, it will get better. All right. So
Mama, I don't think we can hear you. We can't hear you, Ma. Madam Uni, we can't hear you. Everybody, please be patient. She might be experiencing some technical issues. Those that are raising up their hands, please go to the message and just type out what exactly the problem is. Yeah. Go to the in message, the in chat, the in call messages, and tell us what exactly are raising up. Okay, since she's out, please let's be patient. Let's be patient. We'll soon be back on for the main topic of today. Okay, as we're waiting for Madam Oni, let us engage ourselves. I'm going to ask a few questions, and if you know the answer, please get it. You raise up your hand, and I'll pick you. If you are active and you are around, please react. React if you can hear me. If you're active and you're online, please react. Please put down your hands. Put down your hands so that I'll know those that are answering questions. Please put down your hands, everybody. Okay, I want to put down everybody's hands so that I'll know those that are actually ready to answer my questions. Okay. My first question is, are you guys ready? I haven't answered anything now. Melody, please put down your hand. Melody, please put down your hand. Yeah. Melody Federal, if you have to say, please say to the income messages so I can know what exactly your problem is. Okay, so my first question. So Madam Oni mentioned a place, like a person that she first had contact with tech and blockchain. The first person that connected Madam Oni with tech and blockchain, who was the person? If you know the answer, please just raise up your hand. No, okay. Same time, me, please. Don't say the answer in the income messages. Just raise up your hand. Okay, she has answered it. It's her husband. Okay, please put your hands down. Let me ask another question. Okay. What year did Madam Oni graduate from, get called to back? Okay, Adama. Adama, I was first. Adama, please turn off your mic and answer.
Hi, good afternoon. I think
Good
it's
afternoon.
2011.
2011. Okay, that is not totally correct. Thank you very much for trying to answer. Okay, Chiamaka, try to give us your answer.
Madam Moni was caught over in 2010.
Okay, that's very correct. Thank you very, very much. Okay, how many children does Madam Oni have? Okay, I saw Otun first. Yes, Otun.
She has three children, three girls precisely.
All right, thank you very much. That is very correct. Okay, okay, let me think of another question for you people. Yes, please put down your hand so that we will get it. Okay, where did Madam Oni do her master's in law? Asaju, please answer.
Yes, yes. She did her master's at the University of Lagos.
Okay, that's correct. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Let me think of another question for you people. So, can someone tell me, like, explain why it is important that we have knowledge in blockchain and tech, even as we are lawyers? Wait. Oluwatofumi, please put down your hand. Let me know why. Okay, we can see your hand. Okay. Can somebody like give us a short explanation, reasons why we as lawyers, as young female lawyers, um we should also have this thing, we should be educated in tech and blockchain. Why tech and blockchain is important? Just something short, not too long. Shemaka, you answered, so I think I'm just going to skip you. Okay. Onye Mawa, that's the second person's hand. So okay, something short, maybe about 2 minutes. Why you think, or why, but what Madam only explained on how it is important, why blockchain I think it's important to know. Okay, give it to us. Onye Mawa. Okay, Fortune. Fortune, please answer. Fortune. I don't think I'm not hearing anything she's saying. Can you still hear me? If you can hear me, please react.
Okay,
Can
can
hear
you
me.
hear
Okay,
me?
yes, Fortune, I can hear
We
you.
Yeah, thank you
can.
for the opportunity. Good afternoon.
Good
All right,
afternoon.
delving into the question, I feel okay. The major importance is because in today's technologically evolving world, you need a knowledge of tech, even if you're not practicing or going deeper into tech. You need it to, to be able to respond more promptly to your clients. You need to understand it. You need to use it to understand the intricacies of blockchain, artificial intelligence, and how you come in as a lawyer to help you transfer this value and make it into more like a financial, like to transfer the knowledge you have in law and the intricacies of technology to make it, you know, like to offer your knowledge and then transfer it into cash at hand. And despite the, challenges of life and all of that, you need to use it to advance your career as a lawyer in so many areas, like she explained, in trying to render client services and all of that. It was really amazing. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for that short explanation. I think that's covered everything that is said about the importance of blockchain. Yes, blockchain is very, very important, and in the near future to become more important. It's going to be this thing. It's going to be something that each and every lawyer is going to use at some point. So it's very good that you get ahead of such information and knowledge right now, so that when that time comes, you will not be stuck in the past. And of course, we're able to change it into cash at hand. Yes, that is the main. All right. Thank you very much, Fortune. Thank you very much for everybody that answered their question, that answered questions. Okay, I think I'll ask one last question. When did the HILTON Top Solicitors internship and mentorship program start? Like the year of AGA.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It started in 2020.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. You guys are listening, who are active. Many of the questions I asked were the things I said when I was introducing her. And it seems everybody gave their rapt attention. Please give a round of applause, everybody, for yourselves. Thank you very much for being so attentive. Yes, this is beautiful. It's wonderful. Yes, I am impressed. Okay, we are still waiting for Madam Oni. Okay, so the first 2 or 3 people to raise up their hand will give us what exactly they expect, what they exactly they think this program is, this cohort is about, what they expect from this cohort, what they expect from the next 2 weeks. All right, just raise up your hand if you want to tell us what you expect, even if it's not related to like, even if it's maybe what you expected was not what Madam Oni thought, but your first expectations, what when you were signing up, what were you thinking you were going to get? Okay, we have Fortune, Oyemawa, and Sandra. Okay, let's start with Fortune.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. I think my expectation was to understand what exactly, the just like she spoke, like she just her speech encompassed most of my, yearnings to understand the intersection between law and emerging technologies, especially in a digital world like ours today. Where do lawyers come in? How can we offer legal expertise in this area? And like she stated, she cannot give us everything. This program cannot give us everything, but this program will do something to, like, to increase that hunger, to open us up to those areas that we need to understand and then work more on. Just like law, you cannot learn everything in the classroom, but it can open you up and make you hunger or test more for something beyond the surface level. So she wants us to understand this, and this is what I wanted also. Understand the intricacies of these emerging technologies and how to leverage upon them, even if it's just at the surface level, but at least to help us to gain a deeper understanding of where lawyers come in this digital age. Thank you.
Hello, can we hear me?
Yes, ma, we can hear you now.
Wow.
Welcome back, ma.
Thank you. Was it long?
It's really not that long, you little bit, ma. But our moderator filled in the gap.
Okay. All right.
Sorry,
So thank you. Thank you so much. The page was showing on. Okay. We'll get to it. Really, it's presentation was showing, so I had no idea that. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to share again and be sure that I'm on the same page. Okay. Uh, and so can we see my full screen now?
Yes, ma, we can.
You can see the legal foundations, right?
Yes, ma.
All right,
Ma,
thank
some
you.
of us can't see it.
You can see it. If you can't see that, could it be your own?
Yeah, most likely to be their network. I also had to
Yeah,
change my
maybe you
network. So
should log
please kindly
out.
change your network.
Yeah, hello there. You
Àti
can, maybe she can log out
àti
and
kí
rejoin.
òun ló gbà fún mi.
Or can majority of you see?
Yes,
All right,
ma'am.
Sarah, please confirm. Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am. We can see. We
All
can see
right,
the
very
screen.
well.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
thank you. So that's basically it about the blockchain. And so in order not to spend so much time on this, the major features that define the blockchain, like I said, immutability, transparency, decentralization, the fact that there is no central authority. The blockchain came as a result of, having a platform that brings about a secured forms of transaction for the cryptocurrency. And that was why cryptocurrency was the first use case for the blockchain. And so after the cryptocurrency came the smart contract, because for every challenges, every loophole that was seen in any aspect of the use case, better thing was built upon to be able to enable other things. So the first use case as a cryptocurrency, which is the financial aspect, to be able to take away the central authority that the financial industry was wielding in terms of the finances of people. And so group of presidents, researchers came together that there was a need for people to be able to have access to their money and be able to manage their money the way they want. And so it won't be about one central authority any longer. But while they were thinking that there was a need to also make it very secured, right? And so the major features of the blockchain is the issue of, this decentralization. And of course, these main features that also makes the blockchain have posed a lot of legal challenges, which we'll be seeing in the long run as we keep on discussing, right? And so please, if you cannot hear me at any point, let me know. So the issue of decentralization, the issue of immutability, then the issue about transparency, efficiency, and then of course traceability. And so those are basically it. And then before I talk about the legal foundations in blockchain, we have various types. We have the permission blockchain and the permissionless blockchain. We have the consumption blockchain, and then you can classify it also as private blockchain, public blockchain. So basically the private blockchain are the permissioned one because it's probably built within an organization for a particular purpose. And then the public ones, like you have the general ones like the Bitcoin and all that, that one needs no permission, it's permissionless. And so for consumptions, it's probably a group of organizations coming together to be able to, build a blockchain where they can actually give themselves access to be able to, allow for seamless operation within a particular industry, and the sharing of information or data of customers to help for seamless operation within a particular industry. Organizations can come together to form that consortium, right? And so, of course, we have the legal foundations of blockchain. So how does this blockchain really relate to law? Why do we need to understand it? I was talking about the features earlier. I mentioned the decentralization, immutability, and I said the fact that these very features that makes blockchain what it is are the things that also, some of it are the things that cause the problem that we have in law. And so you would have had that question, because when we talk about technology, it's quite large. Then we come to the aspect of the emerging technology. It could be large. So an aspect of the emerging technology with our focus today is the blockchain. And so you will want to see some of the challenges that the introduction of technology actually brought, and why we now explore, and we are supposed to explore and understand the intersection of this technology and law to be able to know those challenges, those loopholes, those things that it has come that has disrupted the industry, and that are posing challenges to the existing norms, existing laws and regulations. So now for decentralization, prior to the emergence of blockchain, we know that we had a centralized system of operation of things, right? And so the thing is that the existing laws were existing and being adapted to centralized platforms. centralized systems. And so the introduction or the emergence of the blockchain came with its own challenges to the traditional mode of regulation, to the traditional legal system, which was already used to a centralized system. And so issues around decentralization was quite, new to the existing laws. And so even up to now, we don't have like a robust regulation that caters to the decentralized nature of blockchain. And that's why we have issues around when the DAO hack happened in 2016. The issue of the decentralization was one of the main issues, because when we have to talk about liability, awarding liability, who do you now award the liability? Okay, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, very well, please. Thank you. All right, so issues around the decentralization now brought issues in regards to liability. Who do we give liability, since we don't have a central authority? Take an example, if Zenith Bank does anything now, you know the Zenith Bank, you know the central, the headquarters, you know who you are to approach for your thing. But in a decentralized system, that transactions happens within participants in a decentralized form. Now you are faced with legal issues as to who you are to award the liability, who is to bear the brunt, who in terms of any form of breach, in terms of any form of issues, legal issues erupting from that system. So some of these things were issues that were new to the existing technology, to the existing laws. And then issues around immutability also was another issue. So the issue about immutability is the fact that once you enter information on this technology, that you cannot change it, or you can say it is nearly impossible, because the thing is that the possibility of it is kind of as hard as not even being possible. Because when you make an error in smart contract in the code, it is not easy like the traditional system of record entry that you can say, let me just go to the system and edit the document and just impute the right one and come back. No. For any error that is made in terms of the code before the deployment on the blockchain, it means that that code needs to be rewritten again. And the process of doing that is not easy at all. So that's why it's almost like nearly impossible to do it. And then when you enter information, because it is not within one party, the other parties will, it is not just within one party, the other parties will have to be prompted, and they have to agree that yes, this information is coming from the right source before they can actually, agree to the change in that information. But the thing about immutability is the fact that you cannot alter the information you have entered on the blockchain so easily. It is nearly impossible. It will require that they rewrite the codes, and the process of doing that is not a cheap task at all. So while that can work as a way for security, in the sense that you know that the bad actors cannot go and change information, it also has an adverse effect in terms of regulation. Take an example in terms of provisions around data privacy and data protection. Now, there is a provision for the right to erasure or the right to be forgotten. Now, if this platform or this technology is stating that when you enter information on the blockchain platform, you cannot change it, that is going to erode your rights as provided for us in Nigeria under the NDPA, and for those within the EU jurisdiction under the EU GDPR. Right? And so these are some of the legal challenges that are erupting from the blockchain. But however, these challenges are not being brought out to deter you from the blockchain, but to expose you to the fact that where these challenges are, as a legal professional, your role is to understand and see how you can be able to contribute to that ecosystem, understanding the provisions of the law as regards the EU GDPR, the NDPA for we in Nigeria here, and the other required data protection regulations within various jurisdictions where your clients will be dealing with. for you to understand what the provisions are, so that at the point of building the blockchain solutions, that if you are called as a legal professional to advise within that ecosystem, you are able to help them differentiate between informations that are not required or that are required by law, that a data subject actually has right to request that they should erase his or her data. And you must be able to determine and differentiate between those data, those kind of data, and be able to advise the ecosystem or your clients at the point of building that solution and at the point before deployment, the kind of information that should not go on chain. That means should not go directly to be deployed on the blockchain, because if it goes on chain, it will now bring about a breach to the provisions of the data protection regulations within the jurisdiction that it will be operating. And so that way you are able to know the kind of information that will go off chain, that they can actually say, okay, for these ones that are personal information or sensitive ones, that the data subject has rights to these ones, we can actually put these ones off chain and not go on chain. So these are some of the issues. But if you now happen not to understand this technology and they just engage you because you hear the name a lawyer, and then within the time that you are with them, they are building a solution within the blockchain, and you just feel that it's business as usual. They're just building, before now, people have been building digital solutions. I mean, we've had various digital pioneers before now. So what's new? Yeah, well, there is new around it with the emerging technology. And so if you do not understand the technology and these features, the various features that makes it very unique and that poses the challenges to the existing technology, you won't be able to advise right. And if you are now able to be there while you help them to incur losses in terms of non-compliance to the regulatory provisions, I'm not sure that would be a good thing for a legal professional within that ecosystem. And so that's why it is very important that we get to understand, because it's not just about understanding law in this present time, but understanding the technology, the business of your client, to the level that you are able to understand its intersection with law and the challenges and the loopholes that it has as regards the existing laws. While, of course, there have been guidelines, there have been regulations that have come up to try to address some of these problems, you are able to also see those problems and also play a role in terms of even advocating for policies that will help to be able to cater for the unique challenges that this self-imposed, that this technology came with. So in terms of the regulatory framework, we have examples from the US, their own approach in terms of course, for the blockchain, I've told you, the first use case is the cryptocurrency. We have the smart contract, which has enabled other solutions that you see, whether in the legal system, whether in the finance, in some aspect of the financial system, whether in the real estate system, whether in the supply chain, and every other industry, that they have real life solutions that are deployed on the blockchain. Most of them are enabled by the smart contract. And so we have various jurisdictions come up with rules to help tackle this. So while they are able, some have been able to successfully come up with rules that will tackle the cryptocurrencies, virtual assets, service providers. They've been able to come up with also some regulations, or some regulations are underway in some jurisdictions as regards the blockchain technology as a whole. So in the EU, we have recently, like this year, they came up with the EU Maker, which is the market in crypto assets. And so this EU Maker actually attends to, it's a regulation that aims to standardize the crypto assets within the EU jurisdiction. So as regards, like we have every jurisdiction that are under the European Union, the crypto asset transactions will be regulated by this EU Maker, which is a great way towards the right direction, and which is one of the reasons some persons are also canvassing that, of course, the African countries, especially those under the ECOWAS, can actually come up with a borrowed lesson from the EU approach from the Maker regulations in terms of having a form of standardized regulation. Because one of the challenges we have within the space is that, of course, there's no harmonized regulation for all jurisdictions, right? And so why we press forward, make it easier to have a harmonized general regulation that will tackle these various aspects of the blockchain. At least if every jurisdiction like the EU has done to tackle and regulate cryptocurrency transactions within the EU jurisdictions, maybe the ECOWAS also can come together and probably, you know, put up something to help for the seamless operation and transactions within countries that are for countries within the ECOWAS jurisdiction. But coming down to our country, while we're still while that is being canvassed for Nigeria, of course, we have on the blockchain aspect, we have the national blockchain policy that was, launched last year. And so these are some of the steps that the key regulators in the space in terms of have taken, right? And then, of course, we have the SEC, the rule, which, of course, I know it's going through some forms of amendment now to help with the virtual asset providers onboarding. And while that is going through amendment, we have the ARIB, which is also helping to onboard the virtual assets providers, or serving as some regulatory sandboxes to be able to examine some virtual assets solutions, to examine them under a regulated, environment and see how viable those solutions are before they actually give them permission to operate, give them approval to operate. So there are guidelines like the VASP, the virtual asset service providers, that helps to be able to onboard them, seamlessly. So these are some of the actions and the steps that various jurisdictions, and of course Nigeria is not left behind, taking various steps to be able to put forward in terms of putting the necessary regulations in place. While we don't have, like I said, everything is evolving. We don't have that general standardized one already yet. But of course, these are some of the steps that have been taken. And so if Nigeria could take the step to come up with things like the national blockchain policy, and then of course, coming up with different guidelines from SEC to be able to help to onboard the virtual asset providers, which are those dealing in the cryptocurrency space and all that, you should know that there is great potential within that space, and every jurisdiction, every country is finding a way to be able to put in place the necessary regulations that will help to be able to regulate that space so that we can actually harness the potentials maximally, right? And then, of course, in your research, you will want to look at countries like Singapore, like Japan, because I know that Singapore is one of the countries that have the great blockchain hub in that space, right? And then, of course, we go to decentralized systems. So we said earlier that the major challenge we have, especially for the emerging technology like blockchain, is the fact that it is a decentralized system. And so by virtue of it being decentralized, it's already opposed to the centralized system that we have and to the laws which we have that we're regulating centralized system. So for you asking a question earlier, while there will be other answers you will pick in the course of the training, this is one of the challenges. So for the emerging tech space, like the blockchain space, so one of the challenges that has actually been posed by emergence of the blockchain is the fact that it is decentralized, and that decentralization is actually a big challenge to the existing laws which cater for the decentralized. And so that decentralization automatically is signifying that it is coming with its own self-imposed laws, but of course, cannot be allowed to operate with its own self-imposed laws, right? And so the decentralized system, majorly within the blockchain space, you find around DeFi, that's decentralized finance, and DAOs, right? So the DeFi, which is the decentralized finance, are platforms that are offering financial services, and you're able to access things like this from platforms, from wallets, like Clever. Of course, we're having a speaker speak to us on blockchain beyond cryptocurrency tomorrow, giving us a great example of some platforms that will help us understand better. So some of these platforms, this wallet, as you interface with them, you are able to, some of them have a very great user interface, and you are able to key into some forms of lending, staking, farming, yielding. I mean, these are some of the terms within the blockchain space of the DeFi, right? And so that way, the financial services is accessible to anyone that has that simple understanding of decentralized finance and has understanding of the blockchain. And so you do not have to, have a large requirement or conditions to be able to, like it has to be within the traditional system, the centralized system, the banking system, where you cannot just, engage in the financial services and opportunities that are close to it. Before now, it was quite heavy, right? But within the decentralized system, by virtue of the DeFi, decentralized finance, people can just have access to their wallets on their phone, and they are staking their cryptocurrencies. They are staking it, they are farming it, they are doing a lot of things with it and making their money made possible by the decentralized system and by virtue of this blockchain, right? And then, of course, we have DAOs. So for DAOs, these are the digital entities that are governed by smart contract. Don't forget that I said if we want to do a major class categorization of the blockchain use cases, we can just do two major categorization in terms of cryptocurrency and smart contract. And I did say that every other solution that you see, that if you want to split it down and say blockchain use cases, the real estate, the insurance, the legal industry, every other industry, all these real life solutions are being enabled by the smart contract. Prior to this time, it was just the cryptocurrency, and the Bitcoin could not enable the other aspect of real life solutions to be deployed on the blockchain, which was what brought about Ethereum. And so the Ethereum enabled smart contract, which enables other real life solutions to be deployed on the blockchain. And so there are entities that are enabled by the smart contract. And so they call them the DAOs, the decentralized autonomous organizations. So people participate within the ecosystem by voting. And most times, you probably, for some, you have to have some tokens or some cryptocurrencies to be able to contribute to the ruling or to the making within that organization. So don't forget that we say there's no central authority within the blockchain space, but of course there are various arguments around this, especially if you are dealing within the various categorization in terms of private blockchain and public blockchain. So if it's the private, you won't say there is no central authority. There is a central authority, because like I said earlier, the private is within an organization. Maybe an organization decided to just, build it for their own particular use. You can't tell me that they'll just open it up for everyone. There will be those that will have access. So that's why that one is referred to as permission blockchain. So the one we're talking about is the general blockchain of the permissionless, the public blockchain, right? And so for DAO, it's a digital entity that are governed by smart contract, and there's no central authority, right? And so, but there are various challenges within the space. I mentioned earlier that there was a DAO hack that happened in 2016, where some bad actors actually exploited the vulnerability or the loophole in the smart contract, which is one of the things that brings me to the fact that you need to understand smart contract, because we understood that it was as a result of the gap in the smart contract that brought about that exploitation. And so we, from research, we see that yes, while that happened, there was also issue about the fact that it was a decentralized system. Who did they even hold responsible for this hack that has happened? But in terms of the smart contract vulnerability, this brings us to issues around why lawyers need to understand this space and be able to work with developers and be able to work with, drafting and reviewing smart contract before it is actually deployed into the blockchain or put into the cryptographic algorithm, whereby it's deployed to the blockchain platforms. So fast forward, we'll move to the regulatory compliance regulatory compliance. So we have issues around anti-money laundering, the AML and the know your customer. So these are issues within the cryptocurrency space that you have to understand what provisions of the law requires as regards KYC and AML, and the need for blockchain project to have this in mind while building solutions to be able to take cognizance with this and be in compliance with the provisions of the law. Of course, there are also issues coming up around taxation, just to ensure, of course, these ones will help to ensure the fact that the platform is not being used for money laundering, right? And then, of course, issues around data privacy and data protection, which I mentioned earlier in regards to immutability. So you want to understand the issues around the regulations, the issues around the unique features of the blockchain and how opposed it is to the provisions of the law, and then where the law is to be able to help provide the necessary advice for the ecosystem of or your clients within the space of this emerging technology. And then, of course, you might say, oh, no, I don't have a client now. Why am I hearing this? That is why you need to understand, because you don't have to wait until you have a client. You need to build yourself into it and then put yourself in the ecosystem to know that you understand this, and that to know that you understand this, and putting yourself out as an authority that, of course, different solutions and innovations are coming up. And of course, when you understand so well, you can be a participant in the ecosystem of those that will even build the solutions, because the solution doesn't have to be just you alone building it, right? And so, of course, we have the legal implications. So what are the legal implications? I mentioned also in the smart contract. For smart contract, because of the complexity of the smart contract, there are issues around the enforceability of the smart contract. So because there are issues around whether it is in line with the conditions or the elements that makes for a valid contract as regards the traditional contract. So now you are seeing the legal implications, you are seeing the challenges that the emergence of this emerging technology is it has, I would say, is causing, or that it has, and or that is posing rather, and then they need legal professionals to have a great understanding around it to be able to help solve those challenges. And of course, because we don't have a full robust regulation that is tackling it already, with your understanding, you can also help build, you can also help canvas, advocate for the right policies, and then, of course, give the right advice, even in the ecosystem within where you are. So even as much as helping to educate like we are doing here. And so that will change perspective, and that will bring more awareness on the need for those that are already with the opportunity. Some persons are already in the space of having opportunities to be able to contribute to the smart contract before it's deployed, but they have no legal knowledge. And so if you are within an ecosystem where such a person is there, and they probably remember that, oh, there's a lady from this platform that is on that platform and is always writing about the regulatory aspect or writing about this, so she understands this space well, and then they will want to co-opt you into the space to be able to give that further service, to be able to build the right solution by giving them the right advice on how that contract, that smart contract that you have helped to review, or that you have been co-opted into the team by virtue of you showing that expertise, that you've been co-opted to be able to review, to see that, oh, it is in alignment with the provisions of the law. Because don't forget that the smart contracts are self-executing contracts. They are automated. These are agreements that are written into lines of code and deployed on the blockchain. That's what differentiates it. And so there are issues within various jurisdictions about the enforceability and the validity of the smart contract. And so these things come up because I believe that if there were legal personnel or professionals in that ecosystem, there won't be much of an issue, because for, like, take an example, the DAO hack that happened, the vulnerability that was exploited. Take an example, if the smart contract had said that if A does something, then B should do another thing. And there was supposed to be a proviso to probably say, peradventure, both of them do what is needed, and another thing was supposed to be available, and it's not available. There are some clauses or provisions, some provisos that are supposed to probably be included in that smart contract and were not imputed. Let's give a typical example. If you say, if Sarah pays me 100,000, then the title document for a particular land should automatically transfer to Sarah. Now, God forbid, okay, let me not use Sarah, let me use someone else. So there's a bad actor who will now say that bad actor should pay me 100,000, and that property will transfer to the bad actor. And then there was no, because it is a digital agreement, it is self-executory, maybe it's written on it that once that bad actor uploads an evidence, then this title document should transfer. Without, of course, it's not a human being, and probably it doesn't know whether that document that was uploaded was the 100,000, or it was another receipt from something else, or it was 100 naira instead of 100,000. And so there is a way that all these things would have been attended to in that contract, to put the necessary clauses, to take into cognizance the necessary advisors that should be there, that if this happened, then that should happen, provided this also is verified, or things like that. And so because there are no humans to verify it again, don't forget that one of the features of blockchain, I didn't recall to tell you earlier, is the fact that it removes intermediary. And don't forget that the role that we play as legal professionals mostly are the roles of intermediaries, right? And so it will just transfer that property. It will just execute itself because it's self-executing. It's not something that it's humans that are involved. And maybe at the point of execution, you are going with these documents, with the agreements, and you just recall that, oh, instead of writing 100,000, you wrote 100 naira, and you can still change. But for this smart contract that is self-executing, it's not going to act as human beings. So if you make any error in that smart contract for deployment on the blockchain, it will execute itself and cause a lot of harm. And that was one of the kind of issues or vulnerabilities that those people maybe identified. Maybe so if someone now identifies that, oh, this thing did not even say that there's a way the system can verify that it's 100,000. So that means I can just upload any paper and then they will give me the document. So bad actors in the space will go and exploit that and start uploading anything uploadable. Do you get what we are saying? So, but when you as a legal personnel with your legal mind and legal lens comes into the space, you are able to take into cognizance some of the things that could cause a problem or a challenge in the ecosystem. You are able to put the necessary things that makes for a valid contract, so that some of the challenges that does not allow for the acceptance or for the enforcement of the smart contract will be taken care of if the right principles or the right personnel are there to take into cognizance the right conditions upon which the right contract should be formed. So there won't be a differentiation at that point anymore. And that way we will be, why do you need to do this? Because you might be asking, so why do I want to contribute to that? Because you will understand, and from the fact that we have mentioned the features, that this technology has great potentials, as well as other emerging technology that are still coming up. And of course, the blockchain, this is not where it will be. It keeps evolving. And other emerging technology, of course, are coming up. So the thing is that for us to be able to scratch those benefits, to be able to harness those potentials, we must be able to help take care of the challenges, the things that have posed challenges to it and making it a source of problem or scam for people, and then be able to tackle that one and also be able to help create that safe environment that people will have more trust in it and be able to adopt, and then we are able to all harness and maximize the potentials. Then issues around intellectual property is there. Of course, there will be issues around who owns the assets that underlines things like NFTs, the non-fungible tokens, then issues around ownership, and then of course copyright protection. These are legal issues that lawyers, legal professionals will need to play a role in. Ours is not to run from challenges, but to understand how we can provide solutions to those challenges. And then of course issues around dispute resolutions. It's all there. The blockchain, the decentralized nature of it complicates the traditional system. Don't forget that we've been saying that. And so there are on-chain dispute mechanisms that some developers or some blockchain projects have actually built in some dispute mechanisms. on the platform. So if they are building all these dispute mechanisms and, you know, coming up with solutions, digitizing and automating all this, do you think you'll be better off staying as a traditional lawyer and not understanding this? Because the thing is that the roles that we perform as intermediaries are the roles that are being automated. So the lawyer who will be relevant is he or she who understands this technology. And so when they pre-build any dispute resolution for you that now say it's just strictly into litigation, and they deploy this to the blockchain and you do not understand how it runs, because of course, at the end of the day, the people that will be eating or earning from it will be those that understand it and probably helped in the point of reviewing or deploying, reviewing those dispute resolution clauses and everything that they needed to be able to deploy to that platform. If you are part of the really align yourself with the emerging could be an immediate thing, but the thing is that you have to actually endure in it and build yourself to be able to gain that standing, seeing the need and the importance, and knowing the threats that these could pose. So while join the group, while others join the group of arguing and saying, no, the blockchain or artificial intelligence cannot take my role, why not stay and understand? Why not commit to learning and understanding and see which aspects resonate with the blockchain and intellectual property, blockchain and dispute resolution? Is it blockchain, cybersecurity, and data privacy? But the thing is, like I said, don't overwhelm yourself. Start from the very basic, understand the technology. You will see that everything else flows, and you see the aspect that resonates with you. And any aspect of law that resonates with you, like I said, this platform is not to take you out, it's to see how you can actually understand the area that you want to focus in and how it will be displaced by this technology, and how you can understand it, actually get to be a participant in the ecosystem while the roles are being automated on this emerging technology, right? So your role, from what we've been discussing, we mentioned compliance, advising. You have to advise about compliance, like I was speaking about KYC, AML, talking about the GDPR or NDP compliance, that's data protection regulations compliance for any jurisdiction that the client or the ecosystem is dealing with in terms of their solution. Then of course, smart contract drafting. We have mentioned that one in my discussion, as I've been saying up till now. Then, of course, you want to anticipate the legal risk and be able to help design the solutions that will help to mitigate the risks that are in this space. I also mentioned earlier that as much as even helping to educate, because there will be a need for education, because the technology, as much as there's a lot of hype around it, that people just know it for the hype, they really do not understand it to the details of the implication for legal personnel. And so you could help join, like the rest of us are doing, to educate, which I started since 2020, and it's been great. And then, of course, you could help with policy formulation, contributing to policy advocacy, policy formulation. And that way, when any opportunity comes and you are in the space, of course, we will always share the opportunity, knowing that, oh, this person is well aligned in this space. And when there's a need for education, or for any role or any responsibility or activity within the blockchain space to be executed, it is those that understand it, whether as lawyers or as any other role that you are performing, that will be contacted and reached out to, right? And like I said, it is very, very important. And I hope that with these few points, I wouldn't want to keep you longer than necessary. Like I could talk about this for now till the kingdom come, but I decided to have that restricted to whole time and to be able to save you to attend to other commitments that you have. And so with this, we have come to the end of our presentation for today. I would say thank you so much. I believe you're able to pick one thing or the other. If you have questions, I'm open to it. I hope you were able to see the slide till the time I stopped sharing. Thank you so much, ladies. So I'm all open to questions or any comments. We're here to learn from each other, right? So thank you. Do we have any question? Can anyone hear me? Is Sarah on the call? Do we have any question? Can someone speak, please, if you can hear me?
We can hear you.
We can hear you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you. All right. I guess the network also probably kicked Sarah out. All right. Thank you, ladies. So I hope you had a great time. If you have any question, kindly ask. But I hope this has set the pace for you. There are other topics that will be coming around the space. But of course, I wouldn't want you to just learn all the topics just from me. I want you to hear from the perspective of others. So much so we'll be having some pioneers within the space of this blockchain talk to us on other editions, on other sessions. And then we'll be having sessions on product management. These are some of the skills that you actually will need for if you now decide to be understand and manage even digital products, blockchain products. These are great skills that you need. And then, of course, we'll have sessions on artificial intelligence. We'll have different sessions couched around it. There's so much to learn and understand around the blockchain. Then of course how real life assets are being tokenized on the blockchain. I could take that for as long as it's possible, but I'm bringing another industry expert from the blockchain space to take on asset tokenization, how we tokenize, award digital identity. We give a digital identity to real life assets. And then of course people wonder, how do we tokenize real life assets? Do we just put those properties online? Of course, yes, just like we do in the traditional system. Or you know that what differentiates the traditional system from the blockchain is the fact that the blockchain is immutable, it's transparent, it's traceable, it is secured. And then, of course, I have highlighted something, that security that is brought about by issue of the immutability, which the immutability is the fact that you cannot change any information, or it's nearly impossible to change any information. That can also work as an adverse effect in terms of, I'm getting a feedback. All right, thank you. So in terms of in compliance with the data protection. All right, so do we have any question? Okay, any assignments? No assignment for today. I believe, have you ladies joined the Google Classroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, I've joined.
Okay, so there's no assignment for today. I'm sure Sarah will address you as regards the group presentations, the group topics that you have to pick, and then of course personal ones. In the course of the teachings, as you listen, you are to pick a topic from the area that really resonates with you. That's for the final project. So you have to write a personal article, final one. So the first one we'll be having is the group one. And so before then, we will probably be given assignments to research on, which you will discuss also on the Twitter space, which is the X space. So the first X space, I think, comes up this Friday and all that. So you will have a topic to research on, to discuss around it. All right, Sarah, do you have any? Sarah, I see you back.
Thank you. So,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. That was really awesome. Even I myself, I learned something very new and important today. And um, I have a question personally, but let me get some feedback from those raising their hands for their questions. Please, if you have a question, kindly put it in the chat or just raise your hand to speak. Amina Bello, do you still have a question? You can go on with it. Esther Guinness also asked a question.
Yes, I do.
Covenants. Okay, go ahead, please.
All right. Thank you very much, ma'am, for this session. I really learned a lot. I would like to know if the slides will be available for us after the session.
Yes, it will be available.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
We'll also be sending the recording too. Then covenants, your question. Amina, your question. Okay, man, let me ask my question. Amina, okay, go on.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this insightful session. I really, really learned a lot. Thank you so much, ma'am. But while you were presenting on smart contracts, I think I had network issues. So I have a question on that. How can smart contracts automate legal processes?
Okay, thank you. So the thing is, like I said, for every solution, that will probably be from like the technical aspect, right? For every solution, apart from the cryptocurrency, which was built on the Bitcoin, now the Ethereum has enabled the smart contract. And what is the smart contract? The smart contract basically is about agreements, like I said, that have been written into lines of code, right? That have been written into lines of code and have been deployed to the blockchain technology. And so in terms of automating legal processes, yes, by the time the developers, like I'm not into the technical aspect, maybe yes. So whatever is going to be enabled by lines of code that will be, by lines of agreement that will be written into, by agreements written into lines of code, will be made possible by the way that the smart contract enables it. And so maybe from the technical aspect, we will know how that will be deployed. But the thing is that every solution that, of course, like one thing I did not mention is the fact that it is not every solution that can be deployed or that should be deployed to the blockchain. That's one thing you need to get. So if you are deploying a legal process, you want to put into consideration what the issues around those legal processes are. And so those legal processes, what are the issues around it? What were the challenges around it? Does the challenges that process has that you want to deploy to the blockchain, that by virtue of the smart contract, can those challenges actually be tackled by the blockchain? And so for you to answer that, you're going to look at issues around the features of the blockchain in terms of you trying to be like, is that legal process, is there an issue about centrality around it and you want to decentralize it? Is there an issue about people playing pranks with that legal process within your organization, that people tamper with it, tamper with information or with data. There is no authenticity with data, whether at the point of transmission and stuff like that. So if these things are part of it, or there is no traceability as regards information, or as regards those the processes that you are trying to automate or deploy on the blockchain, not because this is not just normal automation, right? So if these things can be tackled by the blockchain, yeah, sure, fine. So the technical aspects, the developers will handle how the smart contract will enable that deployment of the legal process on the blockchain. So now take an example for us as lawyers. Now we have moved forward, and I recall that back then in 2020, when I even started this platform, a large number of colleagues were saying, have I joined the scammers? And I recall how some were so unreceptive to this education that I would even call them privately to give. But right now, the NBA has, we have the seal deployed on the blockchain already, right? And so these are things that it's not just about saying, oh, we want to deploy legal processes. So you need to understand what aspects of the processes and what are the challenges. So take an example for the seal. You and I know the challenges, or if you do not know the challenges around the seal, how we have most of the touts, tampering with the seals and even benefiting more from it than we, the qualified lawyers, right? And then you even have some persons tout around with those seals, even collect from maybe lawyers, I don't know where they get it from, and they are selling it at 1,000 prior to this time. I've had someone tell me at the point, can you sell your seal for me 5,000 some years back? And that he could just get to, it's just because he didn't want to get to Ikeja, that if he gets there, he will just get it for even 1,000. I was like, are you serious? So this is the level to which some touts who are not lawyers are just roaming about and destroying the profession. And so the issue of tampering with this important thing, seal, then the need to be able to deploy it on a platform that will actually bring about, security and bring about fast access for you and I when you make your payments, and bring that kind of security and authenticity around it. I believe these are some of the reasons, and the fact that you will check the features of the blockchain and see that, yes, these are the challenges with these processes or these things around the legal system. And I believe that when we deploy it on the blockchain, it will be solved. And take another example in terms of the records. I believe that the records should be of the court can also be deployed on platforms like that, because at the end of the day, for someone like me, I've taken up some pro bono matters at some point whereby we were precluded from doing it because we couldn't even, find the details. When we got this matter from Kirikiri, by the time we went to take it up, in the court record, they found out that, okay, it's been a matter that has been on for like 9 years, and this inmate was forgotten at the Kirikiri prison for as long as that 9 to 10 years. And so the pages of the records where his own suit number was turned off by the time we got there. So now if information like this are deployed to the blockchain, of course, by the enablement of that smart contract, we will be able to, have a safe record, because the bottom line is about having a secured record. And you might be wondering, so what's it all about, this record? Because yes, records really is a big deal, because if you have that great record, a safe record, a secured record, you can guarantee justice for this person whom there is a great delay. And you know that once there is this delay around it, it's almost tantamount to like a denial of justice, right? And then, of course, in other places where there are no secured records in terms of health system, in the health system or in the health industry, if you don't have a secured health details, or whereby the information about the health of people are just left out to anyhow persons to access, people could just come out of malice and tamper with the medications of persons, and it could lead to loss of life. Is it the financial system or industry where that was what even propelled them for this blockchain to come to being? where they feel that, okay, this industry, there is too much centrality. Some few persons are wielding power. So it's about looking at what is the challenges within that process, within that business, within that organization, within that industry. So I have said one around the legal industry, and I have also cited the fact that the sale has been deployed on the blockchain, as we were told. And so for the financial industry, that was one of the reasons that brought about the blockchain, that, okay, how do we look for a way to decentralize this power so that some few persons will not just be controlling the money for a large number of persons and people at their mercy and the rest of it. And so the need for that decentralization was there. However, also moved by the fact that that decentralization for people to have access directly to their funds and deal with it the way they want, which is now bringing about the enablement of all this decentralized finance, where ordinary persons, there's a breakdown in the barrier to entry in terms of financial services and access to financial services and inclusion. And so all these things were made possible, but there was a need to also look at the aspect that, oh, how do we make it secured? So despite all that, it has fallen, you know, for the exploitation in terms of even the security being exploited by bad actors in the space and all that. So to your question in summary, I would say how we can actually automate that will be dependent on what aspect of the processes that you need, but that is not a question that you have to overwhelm yourself with. Once you understand it, you will know the aspect that you want to automate or the challenges. You are now to look at the challenges within the legal space or within the space you want to make your mark and say, okay, even as a legal professional, understanding it well, I want to be a digital innovator, a pioneer beyond just the platform. Yes, the platform digital is fine, but so when you understand it, you look at the challenges within the society that you want to, you know, build a solution deploying on the blockchain and see whether that solution, that challenges that is existing can only be tackled by the features of the blockchain. So now you know what the blockchain, the features that it has and what it wants to tackle. And so if that the issue is around centralization and you want to decentralize, if it's about the security, you want a secured platform, if it's about traceability, if it's about bringing efficiency and all that, you look at it and then the blockchain fits in well for it, then of course you can now, of course, dialogue with the ecosystem. Like I said, it's not you that will build it, so it's not for you to say, okay, how will I even do the automation now and all that, because you will have the other members of the ecosystem, the developers, and that's why I made use of the word the ecosystem participant. But in the long run, the rest of us also want to understand aspects of some programming to be able to understand, especially that smart contract, right? Programming and then smart contract. I hope that has been able to answer your question to a reasonable extent, right?
Yes, thank you so much, ma. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Amazing. Amazing. Ma, you're already delving into my own question on how we can fully position ourselves, especially when it comes to smart contracts and the fact that they are building solutions that for conflict resolution or dispute resolution mechanism that would not even require a lawyer. You know, so how can we really position ourselves that you have no choice but to need me on this matter? You know, so I wanted some really practical tips to start engaging them. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Sarah. So one of the ways that you can do that, like I keep telling people and I keep telling both the alumni, that one of the ways is to be present in the community where technology is happening or where technology is being discussed. Now, I mentioned that earlier. I said you cannot just sit and understand all about technology, or you cannot just sit in the community of just lawyers and expect that you will understand the workings of this technology and say, oh, because you'll get confused. Because you'll be wondering, so this smart contract, how do we really find a way around it? You won't bother yourself if you are in the ecosystem of where the community, like the other day, I like there's a platform for those that are fully interested in the blockchain on the WhatsApp. And we share, join communities like Clever Community. When you are on platforms like this, some blockchain communities, you will be discussing, you will be researching, you will be reading, you will be commenting about the workings of the various aspects of the blockchain. There is no way that you will not be finding your feet and, ensuring the fact that you are contributing to that ecosystem every day will propel you to research every time. No matter how busy you are, that you will always want to add something to your knowledge concerning that aspect because you really want to know about it. And so on the platform, in the community, you are to write or you are to read other people's articles. And now the thing is that while the general one is there, if you even start as small as understanding a particular platform and say, oh, okay, there's something they call Clever Blockchain, how does it work? You go and even read about that. That helps a lot. So being in communities, that's just an example I have given. So being in a community where the blockchain and the various workings of the blockchain is being discussed, the architecture and all that, because in those communities, in those forums, you are not just dealing with lawyers. In fact, I can say for a fact that in the Clever community at the moment, the highest number of legal professionals or legal law undergraduates that are there came from me. Because I want them to be there, but most of them do not have that understanding that this will help them. But I do say it. So if we say it and you don't get the understanding, how else do I want to put it? So the thing is that, why do you need to be there? Because there are developers of the highest level. It's not even just from Nigeria, because it's not a Nigerian company. That's just one of a community. And we keep saying, okay, in order not to get overwhelmed, just engage well in this one. Then we will talk about other communities you need to join. There's Hyperledger community, Hyperledger blockchain. So most times, like Hyperledger blockchain, sometimes I recall when I had time sometimes last year, I would join some of the sessions that they have, some webinars. I will be so confused because the developers are the one holding those sessions. But what I keep telling myself, just endure there. It will get into your head. Because these are the people that are doing the practicality of it. They are building the solutions. And the thing is that most of them are deploying this contract without, because there are industry standards that have been set in the blockchain space, whereby they have smart contract auditors. You don't need to be a lawyer. So if you sit and you want to do, you want to post for yourself, the thing is that people that are not even from the legal profession are busy eating the meats in there. So the best way you can do is to even come in there, and while you are researching, you are able to also interface with those that are doing the practical aspect of the work. They build solutions, they come and present about it. You will hear one thing, hear two things about it. You are able to, pick up and direct yourself. It doesn't have to be one day. If you don't understand, you can pose a question on the platform. If you don't understand, when they hold X space, when they are holding any webinar, make sure you are appearing in all these things. Make sure, I keep telling the community, the ones in the strictly blockchain, women in blockchain community that I have, but I can say for free that most of them, 99.999% of them are not committed. And I keep wondering, I said, you feel that it's just to talk about the blockchain and with them we just download the papers and that's all about it. No, the more you are reading and researching, and it's not even about certification. It's not, because the certification cannot even give you that practical knowledge. I am not saying that you shouldn't get, but that wasn't even the first thing I ran after. So, but I knew that I ran after trainings that I will pay money, free ones, the paid ones, and everything. In fact, one of the biggest certification that I got was recently, not that at the initial stage I just ran into it, because you'll be so confused if you don't even get from the basic training where, like, I pay, I copy. That's the level to which I want to really put myself in this space. And so I make use of whether paid programs for the blockchain or free one at the same way I will not jettison any to say, oh no, like some of the knowledge we're dishing here now. Sometimes you go to other platforms, you hear about the blockchain, you get so confused, you don't even know how it relates to you. It's general. The first class I sat in was general. I sat down because I was so hungry for that knowledge to push myself forward, was able to start connecting it and say, what is the legal aspect in this? How does it, for this senior to tell me that why not look into it? There's something in it. So that's how it does happen. So to be able to know how this smart contract will work, and like I said, how you can gain this knowledge to translate it into value for yourself, you need to really network. And you have to network within the ecosystem of technology. You need to serve, you need to volunteer. One information from here, from there, you gather them together. It puts you on the pedestal of even being an expert more than someone that is restricting his or herself. For some persons, they will not join any platform, they will join, they will sit there, they are waiting for when that big opportunity is coming. But the thing is that when the big opportunity comes and there's a need to execute any blockchain project, I can't just run to anyone. It's the ones I know are committed to it that we have seen that, oh, this is what is happening. When we start all eating out of it, because the truth is that some persons were telling me, no, that the blockchain has gone. We are now moving to another level. Okay, I said, well, of course, there's a fact that various emerging technology are evolving. But the thing is, we've not even started scratching the top of this. Yes, are there threats from other emerging technology? But you won't be at any loss if you understand the one that we're dealing with yet. And so if you don't want to understand it, your country wants to understand it. Your country is building and trying to come up with robust policies around it. So if it's not going to work out, why are they now bothering themselves that you think as an individual you shouldn't look at it? Not just the country, but from the global perspective. This thing puts you on the pedestal of a global visibility that you won't be restricted, that you won't be obsolete, that you won't be, pushed or closed within a cubicle. So one of the ways to understand whether the smart contract, how you can understand any aspect, like one of the things that helped me was the fact that when I started and I understood that, oh, that smart contract is something I should understand. And that is the aspect that will really play a role for lawyers and all that. You don't have to, like I said, you start from the very basic. You need to understand the basic. Don't just jump and say, it's only that smart contract. That's my main thing here now. No, you have to understand the basic things around it. And as small as I have said that, okay, the two basic or major classification of the use cases, if you understand it from there, so if someone brings like 1 million use cases for blockchain, you already know that, yes, the majority of these other 1 million are enabled by the smart contract. Do you need to go into the technicalities? Amma, what are you saying? You don't need to. But as you keep familiarizing yourself within the ecosystem and you are talking and reading things from those that they are not just lawyers, you might get there, you might even be, for most of those platforms, I happen to be like maybe other lawyers for some of them, until I bring you and I, my community there, that come and hear, come and also partake in the community where I am. So what other things do people want? But people are not ready to take the bull by the horn, right? So the thing is that be there, and then you hear, the more you keep hearing, the more you keep appearing, the more you keep enduring on platforms and seeing how you can also volunteer when opportunities come to volunteer. Do, because one thing or the other will drop in your mind that will help you. Do you get it? So we are discussing this now. Some persons are volunteering, like the likes of Sarah. She was in the last set. Now, I'm sure that it's not word to word of what we have dealt with, and the same topic for last time. That's not what we're dealing with. So it's a different thing. So another information would have come that will propel you to do further research, and that way you have built further, and that way you are really, able to put yourself out there. And I tell them, the more you put yourself out there, these are the people that will know that they need a legal personnel, that you have to prove yourself. Because the truth is that, like I said, there are smart contract auditors that have nothing with legal knowledge, right? So if you with legal expertise now come into the system, before you even certify as it, or you are able to now do your research and you are putting articles there, you are commenting on other people's own, they will see, you are putting yourself out there. But you are not saying, oh, it must happen today, if not tomorrow, I'm off from that platform. because your time will come. But you just want to make sure that you're well positioned in various communities. You want to be sure that you're not just positioned to just take space like some persons do. Some are on that platform of the women in blockchain. When everything is all set out now, some will be moved out of it because it's a serious platform that will put everything in place. And so that's basically it. Just make sure you are showing up and attend seminars, attend webinars, attend conferences, network. And so, like the industry experts that will be coming on this platform, the major part of the digital pioneers I brought this time, they are from the blockchain space. Reach out to them. These are my people also. These are people within my network that I know. And I feel that, yes, you should also know these people. You can just follow up what they do, also connect with them on LinkedIn when they have any webinar or anything they are organizing. Attend. It's a small world. I mean, the more the merrier. The sky is just beginning for everyone. It's a large space. I mean, it's a big potential that we have there. And the more we are, the more we can win together, the more happy we will be. And so please don't wait for someone to just, drop everything and you still feel that, no, they've not given me any opportunity that I need here. As small as it's just one thing that drops in you, make sure you follow up that and drive it till you get that value and that thing that you need from it. If it's one person that resonates with you, connect with that person. Even as colleagues here, connect and start collaborating on how you can do things better and bigger, and then do further research, and then also commit to saving. I still save on other platforms free and all that. And I also, and these are part of the things that we're also doing by bringing this to you to be able to empower you. And so I believe that there are always great rewards in impacting others. And what you make happen for others, God makes happen make happen for you as well. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. That was really amazing and fantastic. So just to enter into the last question, this will be the last question. My question is, could you elaborate more on the issues of validity and invalidity of smart contracts, on whether it complies with the ingredients of a valid contract? Ma, we can't hear you.
Okay, thank you. All right, I mentioned something about the fact that, like, after that DAO hack of 2016, yes, there are industry standards that have been set in place requiring that smart contracts be audited before they deploy them to reduce the great level of the vulnerabilities that are being exploited and all that. So now the thing is that what we have, because the persons that are involved, mostly I think is the developers that will just put these things together and just write the codes and deploy. So because it is not legal personnel that are involved or engaged in drafting these documents, the possibility and the reason that I do believe from research that is posing a challenge to it being accepted as being valid or enforceable, because when you bring disputes from the blockchain space into most of the jurisdictions, it's not in compliance with what is required for a contract to be enforceable in court. And so what I believe that there is no way that you and I, with the legal mind that you have, will be in an ecosystem that you will draft an agreement. You are going to be drafting in line with the requirements of the law, in line with the conditions, with the element that makes for a valid contract, that makes for a valid agreement, right? And you would want to ensure that those necessary clauses are included, even as well as even helping to make sure that issues around controversies, disputes that could arise, you could even take that into cognizance to be able to put that in terms of if there is any in the eventuality of disputes, whether you resort to AGR or whatever means of settlement you want to resort to, which court has the jurisdiction, and everything that will actually help to take away some of the hurdles. You as a legal personnel want to take that into cognizance. Now I was talking about intellectual property and blockchain there. So if your client has built a solution, you want to take into cognizance the clauses that will also tackle the issue of intellectual property ownership. Who owns it? So you want to define the roles of the various parties. And so if all these necessary legal requirements or ingredients are contained in an agreement or in a contract, please tell me why there will be so much of a force around the enforceability and the validity of a contract. Why is it being referred to as invalid? From your legal knowledge, what do you think? I think that because it is in breach of the requirements of the law. Just like we said that while immutability, if you do not understand the important feature of blockchain, to know that immutability will inquire that by virtue of that, you should be at alert to know the kind of information your client will deploy to the blockchain, and encourage or advise them not to deploy the one that falls under the information that your client, that the customers should have right automatically to say that they want it erased from the platform. And so if you have the necessary requirements of the law complied with in terms of that agreement, a reasonable court won't have a problem with accepting that smart contract as a valid contract. They will not need to now differentiate and say, no, this smart contract is invalid because it is not in compliance with the provisions of the law. Yes, while we know that the provisions of the existing laws are only being managed to be adapted to this self-imposed emerging technology that came with its own self-imposed norms, while we know that they're working to get regulations that will cater to its own unique features, as it stands and as the existing laws are being adapted to it, you want to actually look at the fact that it is in compliance with it. Just like we said, the issue of data privacy, data protection, you also want to make sure that your client is building a solution. And that's why we have things around privacy by design that you want to put in place, even from the time that you are building. You want to know the necessary, provisions around data protection and regulation to be able to impute that from the point of design, so that these things can actually be quickly recognized and accepted and approved if you are putting the law into cognizance at the point of building. So if you are putting the provisions and the requirements and the element that makes for a valid contract at the point of that time, but most of these persons, because they are not from the legal background, will not put. So the way a layman will just draft an agreement, I'm sure you will know if they are not, of course, not now that they can actually refer to it, to give them some guidelines and all that, right? You will know that you, as a legal professional, will have some forms of knowledge and ways that you will couch some of these clauses, or the kind of clauses you should import that will work against, that will not work against the interest of your client, to make sure that everything is watertight by virtue of your legal knowledge. So when all those things are put in place, it will make it easy for those things to be accepted or to be seen as valid. Now, for some jurisdiction, actually, I think by virtue of the fact that, like I said, there are industry standards within the blockchain system, we will have in the coming days and years things about what we'll be referring to as a blockchain maturity model, that there are stages that the node test that the solution would have passed for them to know that it's actually mature to be deployed or put out in the market. And these are some of the things that will be into. So issues around that smart contract auditing and their data privacy, all those things need to be checked and look whether it is in compliance with the law before it is accepted. So I want to believe that for some jurisdiction, they are receptive to the smart contract already. So I want to believe that maybe they have seen that some of the provisions or the clauses as imputed in the smart contract, but because of course lawyers are coming up in advanced countries already within the space and are probably helping, and some persons are getting even, in fact, for some jurisdictions, some developers are required to even do smart contract certification, smart contract auditing certification to be able to audit it, and not just, it's not like for, where you can just write anything and just deploy and say that's the smart contract. So it has to follow some industry standards. So I want to believe that those standards, of course, it's the right expertise that were put together to be able to form those standards that will probably give those training and see that those smart contracts are in line with the industry standards for the smart contract auditing that will be audited by smart contract auditors within the system to be able to make it acceptable. So we have some jurisdiction already receptive to smart contract and seeing it as a valid form of contract and making it like a legal contract. So I believe that attends to it, Sarah. All right, is Sarah still here? Do you have any other question? Thank you, Amina. Joan, thank you. Probably
Thank you
Sarah's
so much, ma. That was awesome and
all right.
amazing. Thank you so much, ma. I believe we're done for today. We don't have any more questions. I'm seeing one Ruth raising up her hand. I don't know if she still has a question. Ruth, are you still here? Do you have a question? That will be the last question for today. A great one.
Question. Can I go ahead?
Please do.
Yes, please go ahead.
So, good afternoon, ma. Thank you so much for this session. It was very insightful and I learned a lot. But I just have a question. Maybe I have this question because this is like very introductory for me. Like I'm just getting to know about these things. So my question is, you talked about smart contracts and how that in blockchain, it's like a very decentralized system. There is nobody in control of it. So my question is that in a smart contract, do parties, is there any form of identification for parties to that contract? Shige.
All right. So you know that we said thank you for your question. For the smart contract is basically agreements that have been written into lines of codes. So of course, these are some things that makes for a valid contract, right? So there should be parties that are identifiable, right? So you should know that the parties that are being referred to. So the thing is that it is the agreements written into lines of code. So there will be parties definitely. So the parties, the fact that this contract, of course, is not just between one person. It will be deployed on the platform, and so everyone that transacts on that platform will probably, maybe there will be a generic name, just like if you have a maybe agreements and on platforms like Zenith Bank or every other bank that you need to transact on. Of course, it's probably not my name or your name they put there, but there's probably like, okay, dear customer or something. So there will be identifiable parties in the whole thing. But the bottom line is that these things are written as agreements, identifying, and that's why I said as legal professionals, these are some of the questions also we will ask if you are in the system and you are now referred to review a smart contract. So you are now going to look at, have the proper parties been identified, right? And then, of course, because the agreement will in the long run be deployed into or written into lines of code, which is the advanced form of coding, which is the cryptographic algorithm, the cryptographic hash algorithm, right? So the thing is that for some persons, as lawyers, if you are now able to review and you see that everything is in compliance, that there is offer, there's acceptance, everything is all checked out, then you can vet it in terms of that review you have done. And so the developers can now go ahead to do their work and they know how they will deploy it on the blockchain. That is translating that normal English into the lines of codes, into the cryptographic algorithm. And now that's the coding language on the blockchain. This for now, right? So that's when it will go on. But another argument that comes around this smart contract review from you at the point of a lawyer to now check how this kind of question that you have asked, whether there are parties or the necessary parties have been duly identified. So now if you review and you are able to bring out these questions and you advise them the need to identify properly and do the necessary things for these to fall in place or to be regarded as a valid contract. And at the point of deployment, if the developers, because they have no legal knowledge, not out of malice, but probably out of oversight, at the point of turning it into that cryptographic language, they now, probably forgot one of the main information about the parties. That would be another idea. So, of course, issues about liability, whether it's the lawyer who reviewed or the developer who deployed. And then, of course, at what point, and which is one of the reasons as lawyers get to familiarize, or as we keep learning and understanding this and we push more into this space, the need to also stir up our mind to see how we can understand some basic levels of that programming, so that you are sure that at the point that it was normal English, it was what you read and reviewed, and then at the point of the deployment, you are able to even understand that cryptographic algorithm, to read it and know that yes, it's not like they have tampered with what you have read, so that at the end of the day, issues around liability, whether developer or lawyer, or whether the smart contract will be valid as a result of the necessary elements not being contained, will be there. Because at that point you might say, oh no, I reviewed it at that point and I saw that the necessary parties were there, and then the developer will probably say, okay, no, that's not the case. But if you have a bit of an understanding on the programming language, even when they have deployed it, you are able to review it because you understand it. But of course, like I said, we don't have to overwhelm ourselves. We do not need to have that technical knowledge, but if we do, in the long run, it will be a good one. So we can start from where we are. As we get more comfortable and more understanding about it, we can actually try our hands, if it resonates with you, on the technical aspect in a way or in a deeper way and all that. So yes, there should be parties, and these are things that our role is there to identify, to see that, okay, what is making it not being enforceable or not being seen as valid in some jurisdictions. So maybe these are some of the things that are happening, that some jurisdictions are saying, no, this thing is not properly drafted, it's too generic, it's not in alignment with the provisions and the requirements of the law for making a valid contract. So it's a great question you asked, and these are some of the roles we should be there to play, right? Do you get it?
Yes, ma, I do. Thank you very much, ma.
You're welcome, Ruth. So thank you, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Ma. Amazing, amazing. Can we show our virtual claps, appreciation, heartfelt gratitude to Madam Deborah Oni? Today's session was powerful, insightful, it was fresh. I feel like I've never heard you speak before, even though I've heard you speak like a number of times. Thank you so much, Ma. We're so grateful. We're super excited. The review, even on the WhatsApp group, has been fantastic. Someone said this is just day one and everywhere is fire. How would the other days be like? So we're super excited, we're charged, and we're ready. Thank you so much, Ma, for all you've done for us. God continue to bless you, Ma. Thank you, Ma.
Amen.
Yes,
Thank you
Ma.
so much, Sarah. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And yeah, if you're not following the law firm or following me, and there's one thing I'm begging of you: be open-minded, be flexible, be adaptable, and remember that the lawyer who will be valuable in this digital economy is she, as it appears here. Since we don't have he, or let's say is he or she, who understands technology, leverages it, and learns about it. So let's knowledge as well as the legal knowledge that we have. And so with this, I say a very big thank you for those of you that stayed till this time, and those that have left before now. I say thank you to every one of you. Thank you to the moderator for today, and to our great program coordinator, who is Sarah Iwima. Thank you so much, Sarah. God bless you. And I think that will be all from me until tomorrow for the next
session. Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you, ladies. God bless. Do enjoy the rest of your
Amen.
day. So, Sarah, tomorrow's session is by 12, right? You'll have the flyers.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So please, you share the link, the evaluation form link. Yes, you get them, and then you share the one for today. Let them share. Let them go and fill, and let's get the feedback from them, please.
Yes, ma'am. Do that. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Right. Thank you. God bless you there.
Amen.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye, Ma. Thank you very much.
Thanks so
Thank
much. Thank you
you.
so much.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless.